Boom, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another members exclusive video. In this one, we're keeping it short and sweet. We're going to touch on the OG because with the way everything's looking and with the way Riot is outperforming the pack, I think some very, very exciting price action is ahead of us. Okay, so as always, before we jump into Riots, before we talk about some of these bullish price targets that you can see in front of us, let's talk Bitcoin because you know the drill. The price action of miners will always somewhat reflect that of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, as I'm recording this in the last literally like minutes, we are seeing a bit of red, but overall things are still looking really, really promising. As we zoom out here, you can see Bitcoin has reclaimed this symmetrical triangle pattern. And we are seeing a bit of resistance here at this line of conservative resistance on said symmetrical triangle. But overall, the momentum is still strong. If we zoom out, before we zoom in a little bit, you can see here that Bitcoin is clearly in an uptrend, just the way everything's going, the way, I should say the macroeconomic backdrop in general. And really the recovery and strength that Bitcoin is portraying leads me to believe that upside and new highs are much likelier than not. So with that in mind, I'm bullish on Riot. Zooming in here, going back to 4-hour candles, really the last hurdle or level of resistance standing in our way is this line of absolute resistance right here. We're currently about 2%, just under 2% away from this line of absolute resistance. And I mean, you know, this pretty much every trader who's trading Bitcoin is looking and really keeping a close eye on this level of resistance. Definitely going to be careful for bull traps here because you guys know the drill. Bitcoin is the king of bull traps and bear traps. So I would like to see at least a 4-hour candle closure, even better, a daily candle closure above this line of absolute resistance to feel a sense of confidence that we will see those new highs and we will ultimately end up testing these lines of longer term resistance right here. You can see again, conservative. Let's draw this out. This might take a little longer than a few days here. So again, conservative resistance here. We got absolute resistance here. Once and if we do break above this line of medium-term absolute resistance, which again, just all things considered, looks pretty likely. Daily RSI, pretty low, nowhere near overbought levels. Stochastic RSI, nearing the higher end of where it could potentially curl down. But again, all things considered, I think that upside is much more likely. Okay, so that sets the stage for Riot. Riot looking really, really good. Okay, we'll get to daily candles after this, but let's focus on the short term for now. Volume is really picking up. Volume has significantly picked up over these past few sessions, and really over the past week or two, which is amazing. And you always want to see volume. In the Trader Tips video I just posted talking trading volume, I discussed that. We saw volume picking up in Riot, and it's really, really validating to see that, I mean, I think the session right after I posted that we got a little sell-off, but that was immediately bought back up. We are currently sitting at almost, not new 2025 highs, but almost new, multi-month highs. And with the way things are looking with a series of higher highs and higher lows, you guys can see that we're holding a very, very clear ascending channel right here as well. I just think new 2025 highs for Riot are hopefully on the horizon. Now, that does mean we need to make our way up quite a bit, but that'll make sense. I mean, I should say I think we can meet those prior January highs in the month ahead. Okay, so short term bullish, 4-hour stochastic RSI. I mean, also similar to Bitcoin, getting around that top level. The 4-hour RSI above its exponential moving average, nowhere near overbought levels, similar to BTC. And I do think that's, again, as I've alluded to already, that we're going up from here. Okay, so zooming out, you can see that Riot has a lot of room to rally. Zooming far out, going back all the way to where really this macro, incredibly long-term downtrend started back in July of 2023, almost 2 years ago now. We have been in a very, very evident downtrend. This is a surprisingly clean descending channel. Like surprisingly, like these lines are very parallel to each other. Very clean descending channel for how long it is. Okay. And given my bullish sentiment about Bitcoin, given the fact that I do think the NASDAQ is going to continue to climb to new highs, I think that Riot is going to begin outperforming. We're already outperforming all of the other names, not in the entire sector, but at least here on the watch list in front of us, Hutmar, Bitfarms, all seeing some pretty meaningful red today, while Riot's still floating in the green, which again kind of just reinforces this belief that Riot will just continue to outperform the sector overall. And I do think that all of the levels you see in front of us will slowly but surely be tested in the month of July. Okay? As many of you know, if you've been reading the newsletters, you would know that this line of broken support is ultimately my major profit target. I will be taking meaningful profits once and if we do test this line of resistance. Once again, prior supports. But if you're trading Riot, I assume most of you are, especially if you're watching this video, definitely keep an eye on these longer term trend lines, on these lines of conservative and absolute resistance, again, that we've been looking at for many, many months now, because those will likely come into play. But with each break of these levels of resistance, as each of these levels of resistance is broken, that really sets the stage for further upside momentum and further just bullish sentiment, because again, other traders are going to be looking at these trend lines. As we continue to break above these levels, it's going to create that positive snowball effect to the upside, or that flywheel effect, I guess you could say, to reaching ultimately this line of broken support as new resistance, which is about 30% up from current levels, say July 21st, where my cursor fell. That would take us just above $14. And if we can test this level of resistance, the really exciting part about that would be the fact that we would break above the level of absolute resistance on this 2-year-long descending channel, which could ultimately make things very, very exciting. So, bullish on Riot, excited to see what the future has in store for the OG, and as I'm sure you assume the same. Okay, so let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? What are you feeling? Talk about whatever you want. I'll see you guys downstairs, and until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.